Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at some of the Chinese stocks listed in the US. Before I begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you could help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with Alibaba or BABA. So Alibaba did not close the week very well. In fact, you can see that it's barely holding its last cloud support here. And we actually closed the week below the 50% Fibonacci support. So if we were to break down further next week, then it's likely for us to see 96.28 as the next support and even potentially 89.30 as the next Fibonacci support. If you were to break out above this resistance, then we're looking first resistance will be 104.42 and next resistance will be this baseline at around 111 levels. Let's move on to Tencent. So you can see that Tencent continues its weak momentum. And essentially, we are at our last support here at around 23.6% at 41.47. If we were to break down, and it's likely for us to break down, then the $40 psychological support will be the next support in line before we retest the lows of 37.92 back in this particular day here. That said, if we can punch up above this resistance here, which is still quite far away, around $45, then we can potentially see more upside towards this Tencent. Next up, we have NetEase. So NetEase, you can see that after finding some good support at this 38.2%, we see some great bounce. But unfortunately, we met with this very strong cloud resistance here, and we see a sell-off just on Friday itself. So two supports to watch will be this blue conversion line and red baseline as well, and it's currently around $92, $93. And hopefully, we can hold this $92, $93 next week, or else we will go back to test 88 or even potentially $83 for NetEase. Let's move on to NIO. So NIO, you can see that after consolidating sideways for a while, it kind of lost some momentum on this Friday and broke down to 61.8%, 1956. So if you can break down further next week, then you're likely to be looking towards 1805 or even 1655 as a potential support for NIO. That said, on the way down, the cloud will act as a support. So hopefully the cloud will act as support just similar to this scenario here just a few weeks ago. Key resistance to break out will be 20.41 and 21.31 as well, which is this blue conversion line and red baseline as well. Let's move on to JD.com. So JD seems to still be consolidating sideways. We are still holding this 61.8% pretty well above the $60 psychological support level. If we break down next week, then 60 and 57.56 will be the next two supports in line. If you can break out above the $63, 63.43 resistance, then it will be good for JD, even potentially going back to test the 68.29 next week. Let's move on to Baidu. So Baidu or BIDU, you can see that it's quite similar to JD. We're still holding above the 61.8% 135. If you break down, then likely to see 130 as the potential support. Clearly, you can see that there was some bouncing off this cloud support here. So hopefully next week, if we were to retest down 135, then it will likely to turn into support instead of breaking down. If you can break out above this 145, 146, then it's likely for us to return back to this 156 levels if we can cross the $150 psychological resistance level. Let's move on to PDD. So PDD, as you can see, is holding the 61.8%, barely holding the 61.8%, 34.31. If we can break down, if we were to break down these $50 psychological support levels, then 50% at 49.86 would likely to be tested, or even potentially triggering some stop losses just below $50 support level. Or even if you head down further, then 45.41 may be within reach. That said, you can see that cloud is acting as a good support here, so hopefully it can continue to act as a support next week. The key resistance to break out above this for PDD will be 55.20 and also this red baseline at around $60 psychological resistance. Let's move on to KWEB. So KWEB, you can see that it seems to be consolidating sideways, and the cloud is acting as a good support for now. The next support will be 29.04 and 27.78 as a potential support for KWEB. If we start breaking down this key support level at 27.78, then things will start to turn ugly for KWEB. If we can break out above this $30 psychological resistance and even this 31.29 at this rate baseline, then that will be a good thing for KWEB. Let's move on to CWEB. So CWEB, a similar situation, is well supported by its blue conversion line for now. So if we were to break down this 35.88 at this 38.2%, then potentially we may go back to see this $50 psychological support being tested. The key resistance to break out will be this red baseline at around 66.75. Lastly, we have FXI. So FXI, once again, very close to its cloud support level, and is essentially the last support as well. So if we break down this 50%, 31.33, then we're likely to be looking towards 30.50 or even potentially 29.48 at 23.6%. So the key resistance to clear would be this 32.62 at this rate baseline here. So overall, the market seems to have a very bad sell-off on Friday itself, and hopefully the cloud support will act as a good support next week, and hopefully we can bounce off from here. If not, we will continue to break back down next to the next Fibonacci support levels, 50%, 30.2%, or even 23.6% for the respective stocks. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.